after you fail, the likelihood that you're successful goes up, not down. This is the part that people miss. They fail and think it somehow decreases the likelihood of success, but it actually increases it. And so it's like you want to just get the failures out of the way. Why would you not want something that increases the likelihood to hit your goal? And the reason that it increases that likelihood is that failure is a requisite probability for taking action. And so anyone who has failed has taken more action than someone who's done nothing, which means it increases the likelihood that they are successful. And so when you fail, you get feedback. And when you get feedback, you get better. And when you get better, it increases the likelihood you win.
Is your life purpose-driven? What is purpose? Goal orientation, right? Do you have somewhere that you're headed? Most people find themselves in a place of distress because they find themselves in a place of limbo. They don't know where they're going. If they just had something, even that's why people find so much confidence and so much, mental stability in the gym, because it's something that they can look forward to, that they know it exists, that they can accomplish. But it's a great stepping stool. It's a great beginning point.
Stop taking things so seriously. No one is getting out of this game alive, literally. In 3 generations, no one will even remember your name. And if that doesn't give you liberation to just drop your fucking problems and find some joy, I don't know what will. Life is inherently ridiculous and guaranteed to end sooner or later, so you might as well enjoy the ride.
You had to challenge yourself. You had to do something out of your comfort zone in order to even recognize that you could become, that you could be, and that you could develop. And often we're waiting to become before we take on the challenge, but it's the challenge that makes us become that person. And I think we resist. If you have opportunities and you don't take them, that's a disservice. Some of us, and we'll sabotage ourselves because we'll say, oh, well, I didn't ask for that. And even if you don't have the skills and you don't have the talent yet, or you don't have all of the tools and the abilities, it's gonna force you to develop them.
I didn't teach myself victory first. I taught myself failure. I taught myself how to fail. So if you don't know how to fail, there is no victory. I never talked about winning because I knew the path to winning was gonna be years of failing first. So I taught myself how to fail properly.
I became bulletproof. I became invincible here in my body. Nothing can stop me. You can throw anything at me. There's nothing that can break my mindset.
But you have to have that purpose, that goal setting, in order to be able to navigate life. Purpose is extremely important because it gives you aim, it gives you direction.
Enjoy life. It's life is too short to get bogged down, to be discouraged, or you have to keep moving. You have to keep going. Put one foot in front of the other, smile, and just keep on rolling.
Don't wait. Life is happening. There is a strange feeling that one is not yet in real life. For the time being, one is doing this or that, but there is always the fantasy that sometime in future, the real thing will come about. The common feeling that your life has not begun, that your present reality is a mere prelude to some idyllic future. This idyll is a mirage that will fade as you approach, revealing that the prelude you rushed through was in fact the one to your death.
We always step over the shovel. And all I did was I picked up that fucking shovel, and that shovel, I made my own path. And you may have big boulders and shit. They may be getting 200 miles up the road faster than you, but going through this path of life, this journey over here that you make yourself, that's incredibly difficult. When it comes out the other end of that motherfucker is some glorious shit that you can't even explain to people. And we're afraid.
Most people don't go and they don't chase their dreams because the people around them tell them shit that just isn't true. Hey, be realistic. You need to be thankful. Don't forget where you came from. We hear all this shit every day from a bunch of losers, and it gets in our heart and our mind, and it causes us to hesitate. Your goal here is to realize that we only have one existence, we only have one opportunity, and you need to ask yourself, what are you gonna value at the end of your life? Are you gonna value the work that you did? Are you gonna value the things that you created? Or are you gonna value doing what everybody else expected of you?
I think most people have had dreams and goals in their life, and they've had, obviously, as all of us have, plenty of disappointments. But if the person that persists and keeps going can eventually break through. Like all the studies show that pessimists are much more accurate about their performance than optimists. Much more accurate. But optimists are much more successful because they overvalue. They think they did better than they did, so they're willing to try it again. Right. They believe it'll happen. And that persistence is what makes things work.
Bottom line is, most of us, even the people who have all these theories and shit, it's easier to accept the fact that I'm just not good enough. I wasn't made to do that. And yeah, some of us can't be LeBron fucking James.
I think personally, thinking I had something to prove fuels me.
But I tell you right now, man, we can do a lot of shit when it comes to this pure arm guts and willpower and getting through shit. We have a lot more with a lot more.
So I think the thing that stops people, whether it's in their relationship or whether it's their business or their career or their body, is the disappointments of the past. And so what really shows up is fear. You know, the fear of failure, the fear of success, the fear of rejection, the fear of the unknown. There's so many fears, but they all come down to two fears that everybody has. We're all afraid we're not enough in some context. Not rich enough, smart enough, young enough, old enough, wise enough, funny enough, whatever it is, attractive enough. And so I look at most people, and most people have so much fear still because of so many disappointments that they're afraid to get their hopes up.
Have faith that whatever stresses that you're facing right now will lead to a greater version of you in the future. The challenge that you're facing is a gift.
Losers stay losers by never being willing to lose. Everyone loses before they win. Everyone falls the first time. Your first business is very unlikely to be your last business. The first product you have will be a product that you'll be embarrassed of years from now. But what's important is having the product, getting the product, building the product, launching the product, shooting the shot.
Everything I've ever done in my life, I didn't want to do. Everything, every day. I'm a lazy piece of shit. And I'm one of the hardest working people that ever stepped foot on this planet Earth. And I'm saying that very proudly because I know what I do. It's not cocky. I'll tell you I'm stupid. And I'll also tell you the exact opposite of what I've done. It's the truth.
So no matter how you feel, get up and do what you're supposed to do. That's it. And that's discipline. It's not motivation. If you only did what you were supposed to do when you were motivated to do it, that's leaving it to chance. But if you're disciplined, you go do what you're supposed to do. That's the way it works.
Leaning into the discomfort as if you invited it through the door, saying thank you for the opportunity to learn and reflect because it's making you better.
You can set yourself a goal that you can attain, and there's not going to be much glory in it to begin with. Because if you're not in very good shape, the goal that you could attain tomorrow isn't very glorious. But it's a hell of a lot better than nothing, and it beats the hell out of bitterness, and it's way better than blaming someone else. It's way less dangerous, and you could do it.
But this is the scary thing. Why most people don't want to do that, build that willpower, is because it is scary. It unlocks a whole bunch of things about who you are and who you're not. And a lot of people don't want to go down that journey to discover who they are and who they're not, because it's not a pretty journey.
If you don't come in and treat every day as game day, you're going to never be ready for game day.
It's crazy how large the perceived monsters can appear. Fear is a mile wide and an inch deep. And so you look at it and it looks like this ocean, and then you take the first step and you realize you don't drown, because it's like, oh, there's ground underneath of this, right? There's other people who are more on my path, and the friends you lose, you gain new friends.
This challenge that you're going through is a gift to your future self. It is something that in future you will look back on with so much pride and glory, this odd sort of very normal version of glory. You didn't win a battle, you didn't complete a war, you didn't conquer some new land, but you conquered a part of yourself. You conquered a challenge that may have ended you in one form or another. It may have buried you. And if your negativity that you're thinking about now doesn't matter in 3 months' time, you can't recall it, why waste the moments that you've got, this sort of precious life, this brief sliver of existence in between two eternities of nothing? You're not going to have a perfectly smooth ocean.
If you go visit the darkness that you've been running from, you'll have the opportunity to leave a better person. You'll have a better understanding of yourself. You'll have a better understanding of your purpose. But if you don't take that trip and the darkness comes visits you, it's a guest that will never leave.
That fear was the hardest decision that I've had to overcome in my entrepreneurial career. And I think of all the split paths in my life, that was the one that if I had many timelines or many universes that existed, that was probably the one that is the most likely that I would not have parted from.
One day in the gym is basically imperceivable. 2 days in the gym, you don't recognize any change whatsoever. 100 days in the gym, and you're almost a new person.
When you have a goal, I think any individual, anybody, male, female, whoever the case may be, when you have a goal and you like seek that goal out and you dream about that dream and you put everything in you can to, you're able to accomplish that goal, it actually, for me personally, made me even more hungry to continue to try to win championships. And I still want to be in championship mode. And I think I've showed this year why I will still continue to be in championship mode.
Problems are a feature of life, not a bug. Whatever negativity is consuming your thoughts probably won't matter in 3 months' time.
So we let these things slip. Because it takes so long to see the progress, we let them slip. And when we don't do them, it becomes 0 times 100 or 0 times 1,000. And that nets out to a 0.
To those who have everything, more will be given. From those who have nothing, everything will be taken. Because it means that as you start to fail, you fail more and more rapidly. But it also means that as you start to succeed, you succeed more and more rapidly. And so you take an incremental step and you think, well, what the hell's that? It's like it's one step on a very long journey, and it starts to compound on you. So a small step today puts you in a position to take a slightly bigger step the next day, and then that puts you in a position to take a slightly bigger step the next day. And you do that for 2 or 3 years, man, you're starting to stride.
You're much better than you think you are, and you need to remember that most of the doubt and most of the things that you struggle with were installed in you by people around you who have already given up on what their life could have been, and they want you to do so as well because it makes them feel more comfortable about their mediocre existence.
So put in the daily effort. Let that be your reward. Reward yourself. Feel gratification from knowing that you moved the needle even just a little bit. And whatever it is you want to do isn't going to happen in one day. You have work to do. And I know it's just a little bit. I know it's just a little tiny movement forward, but that work is what it takes. So go do it.
If you want to be exceptional, and I will say this again, then it means you will be an exception. The majority of people will not behave the way you are. They will say, why are you acting so weird? Why are you behaving this way? This isn't normal. What's going on? They're gonna ask you these questions because they want you to get back in line. But back in line leads down the road, and you know where that road ends, and you know that's not where you wanna be.
Always be willing to be stronger than your strongest excuse. And also, always be willing to extend a level of grace to others and yourself.
If I could go back, I'd tell younger me, you're going to do some pretty great things, but you do not need to be great. All you have to do is be yourself. That will always be enough.
I think I always felt like I wanted to be good at everything I did and be great at what I did. And I never expected to be as good as I was. So it would just be such an interesting relief to be able to give myself, to be like, you are going to be great. You're going to have all these things that you want. But you're also going to realize that they're not as important as you think they are. You're going to come to the realization where the relationships and your values and everything that you enjoy and the experiences of everything aren't going to come down to those spectacular moments on stage at the Olympia. They're going to be much more simpler than that. They're just going to be those moments where you're being yourself.
How many times do you have to hear, if nothing changes, nothing changes? You think you're going to get in better shape. You think you're going to get more money. You think your relationship is going to improve. You think you're going to get promoted. You think you're going to get a raise. You think the world is going to get better without you doing anything. But it isn't. Nothing is going to change unless you change what you're doing. Change the junk food that you're eating. Change the time that you wake up. Change what you do when you get out of bed. Change what you do with your time. That's what you need to do.
And I'm obsessed with being the best version of myself. And that's a daily thing, you know? And some days are better than others. Finding myself in a world where there's so many seen opinions about yourself, when everybody's telling you who and what you are, you know, learning how to live. So I'm obsessed with finding myself now and not having to prove anything to anybody other than myself, and realizing that that is enough. Giving your best is enough.
It's normal to not know what you're doing. If you did, it wouldn't be called growth. High five your fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and carry on. Do you get tired, stressed, sad, hungry, frustrated, unfocused? Do you feel misunderstood? Great, you're human. You don't need medication.
And like there's a quote that was said, I don't know who said it, but it was a great quote. This guy said, going into combat, going into war, out of the 100 men that go into war, 10 shouldn't even fucking be there. 80 of them are just targets. 9 do most of the fighting. 1 is a warrior. And it's a true quote to life. I saw it going through training. I saw it everywhere I went. There's so many people who just show up to life that shouldn't even fucking be around. And there's few people who do all the work. I wanted to be part of that 9, and I'm working towards being that 1. And that's just how I live my life.
If you knew that you were going to succeed, it wouldn't be worth doing to begin with. The fact that you are uncertain when you start is what makes it worthwhile. And the fallacy of being in the pursuit is the worry or the concern that it won't amount to anything, because who you are becoming is the thing that you are amounting to in real time every day.
You have to change some things or nothing will change. So make changes.
And I think one of the most powerful things that you can cultivate when you cultivate partnership with yourself is being able every single day to have a level of trust in your life, in the magic of things, in yourself, to know that this moment right now is also a dot on the map of your life. And 5, 10, 20 years from now, you will look back on this moment and you will know exactly why this happened. And why it happened is it was preparing you for something. It was giving you a skill or an experience or some wisdom or a relationship that you're gonna need for something extraordinary that's coming. And when you believe that, it gives you the strength to face absolutely anything.
If I'm consistent, I give myself the opportunity to be exceptional. I feel as if it's a lot of exceptional people that are not consistent. And so their talent and their skill set has extended them to a place that their character can't sustain them. But they're exceptional.
Most people in life don't win, not because they weren't capable, not because it wasn't there for them to take. And a lot of them quit right before they're about to make it. So many people have made a deposit and a deposit and a deposit, and they don't wait around to make the withdrawal because it didn't happen quick enough for them. It didn't happen when they thought. It's going to be harder than you think and take longer than you think. And third, it'll be more worth it than you think.
Don't believe in us, bro. Doubt us. Make fun of us, laugh, giggle, make remarks. Please do, because I take all of that shit and I turn it into productive energy and I end up stepping on your throat with that.
And how about you plan your day? How about you plan what you're gonna do in the day? You make those little changes, those little habits that you have to change them, those bad habits. You'll be surprised, the little things, the little changes, they add up and they become big things. Change the little things and over time, you can change your life. But if you don't change what you're doing and how you do it, nothing else will change.